I'm involved in brawls, I start glowing. Your broads are like, where you going? What you holding ain't the cards showing. What's the brouhaha? What's the brouhaha? I gotta go, stop your moaning. Gotta push up more weight than Hogan. Won't stop till I'm on late with Conan. What's the brouhaha?
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of What's the Brouhaha? I came across this video of Myron and Crowder debating monogamy. So let's see what's going on.
That's why I do what I do, is so that men understand that they need to be the leaders, and to be the leader, you need to have these things in place and also understand what you're dealing with on the other end, because women of 2025 are no longer the women of 1955, which guys make this egregious mistake and think that they are.
That's where we would differ. Is for me, the prescription is it is your duty as a man to honor her, to respect her,
of course.
to provide her,
Yeah,
to protect, and I would put in there monogamous.
As long as the guy's making that decision and he's monogamous because he wants to be, I'm cool with it. I just don't want guys being monogamous because their wife tells them, oh, you better be monogamous because X, Y, Z.
Now, do you ever get in hot water?
Okay, so that was the intro. So like right away, you can see that Crowder is coming from the tradcon perspective of not recognizing what the current landscape is. Of course, if you're familiar with Myron, he's coming from it from the perspective of someone that recognizes the current landscape. Now, I have a deviating view from the current red pill framework, but the premise is the same. We recognize the same things, but then my model of what a real marriage looks like is something that not a lot of people are talking about. That's why I started my channel, was not to just discuss societal issues, but to really focus on that model of how to proceed forward in a world where, with the current landscape, outside chicks you can't take serious. So that's where my stuff veers off. The red pill and I both have the same broad take of the landscape is not what it was in the past, fundamentally, generally, where most women are just not marriageable. That's all. I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm saying that in terms of marriage, in the framework of marriage, they're just not marriageable. More on that later. Let's just get into it right now and let's see where they take the conversation.
Your lady, lovely, fetching lady, I think, like a lady out there, I don't want to speak out of turn. Does it ever hurt you in your relationships where they hear you go like, we're all players? Do you have to say you're going to go back and she's like, you have some splaining to do, in Sudanese?
So they don't, because like I'm very open about that. Like I tell girls all the time, I'm not going to be monogamous to you. I tell them all the time, men lead, women follow. And, and I do want to be important, because this is another thing that people kind of misconstrue about me. I don't tell guys to run out there and be like a womanizer, like forever. I just want guys to be able to understand women. And I understand for you to truly be able to understand modern women and the way that they move nowadays. Unfortunately, like religion and culture and all the things that used to keep women in place, the church and shame, all these institutions are pretty much gone or eroded significantly. So like women are incentivized to be whores nowadays. So I tell guys, look, get in a position where you understand women, where they can't hurt you, like whether it be with marriage or the divorce court, or, you're paying alimony or child support, understand them and then go in with your eyes wide open. And unfortunately, in today's day and age, I think guys do have to get a level of experience when they deal with women, but I just want them to do it on their terms versus doing it on the woman's terms, which is what most guys end up doing in society.
I think that's good, because I know you've had conversations, a friend of mine, Andrew Wilson, and we agree on a lot of the, I think you're unabashedly red pill. You would say, and then I get lumped in with that, whereas like we would have very different prescriptions going forward. But it sounds to me like you're saying
we all identify the same problem.
The same problems. Yes, exactly. And I think that's where we kind of diverge and we can talk about it. But that's actually good for you to clarify, because I've heard you say like, bang a lot of bitches, to use your culture, your colored nomenclature.
Yes.
But you're basically saying do it on your terms. So if you want to be monogamous, if you want to not be promiscuous, then make sure you're approaching it the right way where you find that kind of woman. But if you want a whore, then, go to the horse store.
Yeah, and be able to identify them. So this is the thing that so I get in a lot of fights with a lot of conservatives over this topic. So like one of the things, right? So I have 5 things that I think every guy should have. And I think we might have even had a discussion on this before a couple years back, and it hasn't really changed too much. Make 6 figures a year, at least $100,000 a year as a guy, be 35 years old, have 6 months to 1 year of savings, be in good shape, and have sex with 50 women. Now, this 50 women thing is what has a lot of people.
The fifth thing.
Yeah. This is what pisses a lot of people off. Now, this 50 isn't a hard and fast 50. I just want it where guys are able to get to a point where they understand women to the point where they don't get into a relationship with a girl and she's telling them like, oh, you're not going to get any nookie unless you take out the trash. Oh, you're not going to get XYZ unless you do this. So I don't want guys to be in a position where their girlfriend or their significant other can leverage sexuality for compliance from them, from his perspective. She should be giving that to you all the time. And she should be actually the one trying to initiate if, you do everything right, correctly. And the reason why I say guys need to have these 5 things is because in the age of Instagram, in the age of dating apps, in the age of where women have all these, opportunities, relationship and sexual opportunities, you need to be what I call like an entry-level higher status guy. And these 5 things will put you in a position where you can at least be the leadership figure in that relationship where she's going to respect you and most importantly, submit to you guys, submit to you. So that's why I say these things. Now, could it be 20 and you'll be fine? Could it be 10? Could it be 1? Hell, could you even be a virgin and maybe understand this stuff? Sure. But what I've realized is like most men don't really figure women out until they've had a significant amount of experience. And I've noticed it to be somewhere between 30 to 50. Now,
do you mean that relationally or do you mean that sexually?
Sexually, so that you understand women appropriately, so that you can identify. It's like like we look at World of Warcraft, right? Like you got to kill the little like monsters or whatever. Like the shit wants to level
I
up.
thought we were talking about women. You went to World of Warcraft.
This is the problem
tonight to women.
How many women do you have if you're World of Warcraft?
Well, you got to kill the like little.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of all women drying up.
Or like you spar with a bunch of people in boxing, right? So that when you finally have that final match against the boss, like you know how to appropriately duck and weave and do what you got to do to be able to win the fight. Because I do think like when it gets to marriage and long-term relationship, that's going to be the hardest thing for you versus just womanizing. So you need to understand women's strategies and proclivities and everything else like that. So I think having that number and having that experience will, number 1, put you in a position where you're attractive. And then number 2, give you the prerequisite knowledge and sexuality where women can't leverage sex against you anymore. Because so many guys are like, I got my I'm going to do whatever she wants. And that's like the beginning of the end.
You've been talking with Robert. He says that a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he says that. I'm like, Robert, you don't understand the dynamics of female-male interplay. But I will say, I get it. And then the Christian prescription is, hey, you know what? The truth is people figure out sex. And the truth is people who are virgins who get married and then have sex, have fewer partners, are sexually happier. Now, maybe because they don't know what to compare it to.
They are.
But so what? Yeah. You know what I mean? I also think
ideally,
that
just for clarity, ideally, if a guy and a girl can get together and be virgins, that's the best scenario.
So you would say that too?
Yeah, statistically speaking, that is the best way. But me being pragmatic and understanding how women are nowadays, where the average 21-year-old girl is going to have more sexual partners than the average 21-year-old guy, like I can't in good faith tell guys to get married as a virgin and them not being destroyed because they don't understand female nature and how women are. And like, unfortunately, the church, religion, society, shame, all these different things that used to be in play back like in 1955 are no longer in play in 2025. And women have no reason to really sit there and submit to you and do what they're supposed to do because they're incentivized to not.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this.
Right. So listen, I agree generally with everything he's saying. Just a few things. You don't need 50, whatever. And then all you need to understand is any chick that's outside is not ever going to be a chick that you can commit to, right? Like any chick that's outside without family, without her brothers, her father, etc., is not a chick that you can commit to. Ever. What he's talking about, based on what I understand, my framework, or the framework, because I think this is the framework that will be adopted in the future. In the future, this will be old hat. This will be the standard. The standard will be, if she's outside, she's not your bitch. She's not your chick. She's not your lady. She's not your wife. She's not the mother of your children. That's going to be the standard moving forward. Because once a chick is outside, she is just being pursued by guys. And women being what they are, naturally, it's not a insult. If you're going to accuse me of being a misogynist, then at least maybe because of other reasons I'm a misogynist, but not because of this. Okay, this isn't, if you're going to accuse me of being a misogynist, there's plenty of other reasons and other things that I say or do that you could accurately label me a misogynist, and I wouldn't even run away from that. But not for this. This is just apparent. This is the truth. And even feminists, if you listen to them, and I'm sure as the channel goes on, there'll be plenty of examples where they are verbatim telling you that they don't belong to any man, that they're free no matter what, even if they're in a relationship, quote unquote relationship. So even if they're in a relationship, women these days will tell you that they're free, that they can go outside whenever they want, that they can have girls' nights out, that they can do whatever they want, basically. And that's not gonna cut it. If you want a family, if you want marriage, if you want a lady that you can trust, or more accurately, if you want a situation you can trust. And I think that's what's missing from these conversations every goddamn time. I've taken in my fair share of this content, and the one thing that's missing in this space constantly is the structure you build around yourself as a man. And I mean that literally, physically, materially. The neighborhood you live in, her family especially, that's the most important thing. The most important thing is her family. So as you stick with this channel, I'll walk you through the best case scenario of how to get married and why you would get married. Marriage is pretty much, it's dead. It's not something that is in the cards for a lot of people in this time. In this current environment, in this current era, marriage it's just not viable. And it's simply because it's very difficult to find a chick, especially in the West, who's with family constantly, where her family has eyes on her constantly. That's very hard to find. And then on the piece with, oh, you have to lay down with 50 chicks to understand them, etc., etc., he's just speaking euphemistically. But if you're a gay, strict religious guy, or just a guy who doesn't want to sleep with 50 chicks, listen, what I would say is you can go outside, and just like fishing, you should engage with a lot of women. And even if you don't get laid or whatever, you can throw them back. You can go any stage of the way, meaning you can talk to, and you should talk to, really 500 to thousands plus 10,000, etc. of women. You need the repetition, because women have repetition. That's why they are short-tempered. That's why they behave the way they do. That's why they don't take men seriously. That's why they toss men off pretty. Even if you lay down with a chick, she will move on, and you'll lay down with her for anywhere from a one-night stand to a few days, to a few months, to her visa stay, to whatever, her vacation stay, whatever. And she'll just move on because she has constant guys. She has constant guys. So this idea that you're going to get into any real relationship or a marriage is just really insane. It's insane. But you have guys that are in a bubble where, or in a social circle where they are unaware of this. So they find a chick, and typically she's over 25. She's been out here since 15, sexually active. Most chicks in the West lose their virginity between 15 and 18. And I would wager most chicks lose their virginity at 14, 15, and then less so at 16, 17, 18, etc. So by the time she's in her mid 20s, so like 25 to 28, it's 10 years. 10 years, and these are female years. Female years are like dog years. So for each human year, it's 7 years. For a dog year. Now, me personally, I think each month is like a year for chicks. So that's 12 times 10. That's 120 years. Now, maybe that's a little drastic, but yeah, man, like women have a lot of experience dealing with droves of, especially nowadays with social media, which amplifies this. Now, this stuff was happening in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. Also, when women started being outside in perpetuity without family, that's when you saw promiscuity and basically juggling multiple guys. Each chick is juggling multiple guys all the time. So even like some guys that get down about rejection, and that's normal, is every guy, nobody likes being rejected, if you even call it that, because once you understand that each chick is juggling multiple guys all the time, even if she's married, even if she's in a relationship, which is bullshit. There's no such thing as all there is marriage, and a valid marriage. Most people nowadays are not in valid marriages. they're in shadow marriages, false marriages, etc. Because the guy's, he's in a marriage with a chick where he's not her first and he's not her last. He's not her last. So I'm telling you, and you won't hear this anywhere else. That's the thing. No one else is saying this. So, but you got to understand that that's what's happening out here. Now, I've heard people say these chicks have placeholders, and that's essentially what I'm saying, is that if you commit to one of these chicks out here, you'll be a placeholder. Now, on Fresh and Fit's view, Myron's view is that you can vet her, and that sleeping with 50 chicks will give you the insight to sort of maintain that relationship. And I think that's bullshit. As soon as you commit to her, you're in a bad position, period. The best you'll get with a chick that's outside is you can have her as a side chick. And my other sort of framework, I guess, or plan, or just action, or the boundary is no dating, no paying. No dating, no paying. Because through no dating and no paying, what Myron is basically talking about is not being played. And so this idea that, oh, if you talk to 50 chicks, you'll have the insight to vet better and not get played by chicks, basically. I think that has some credence, but you can off rip not get played if you take a devout positioning. Because you don't need to mess with 50 chicks and do all this to not get played by chicks. You just have to have some granite positions that you won't change, that you won't deviate from. So no paying, no dating. No paying, no dating, which implies obviously no marriage, no kids, and no cohabitating with an outside chick. With an outside chick. So any chick that any man can interact with, any chick where men who are not her family can interact with, is a chick that belongs to nobody. It's just that simple. So any chick that's outside and that any man can, regardless of what she thinks or what she says or what she promises or whatever it is, if a man is interacting with her, that's not your bitch. It's not your bitch. Even if she rejects all of them, it's not your bitch. If she's outside, it's not your lady. If she's outside, it's not your lady, and it never will be your lady. It's just that simple. Now, again, as the channel goes on, I'll get more into the details of why that is, etc. But that's what's happening outside, bro. This is what's happening out there. Now, people will shame you and say, oh, you're insecure, etc., etc. No. This is the material reality. You can't change the material reality of what's happening. If you have a house with no roof and it rains and snows, then that rain and the snow is going to get on you. You need a roof. You need that boundary. You need that protection. It's just that simple. So this is a game of positioning. And people have written off the idea of finding a virgin for marriage or finding a lady, a real lady that you can trust. This is marriage. This isn't hooking up or company for the moment. That's not what this is. This is about the mother of your children. This is about the DNA test. And you should get a DNA test with everybody. Everybody, even if you meet a chick who is someone you can trust. Or again, I should be more specific, her family. You can trust her family and you can trust the positioning. Everything is about positioning. It's a physical world. Everything is about positioning. So once you get into a position where you can trust it, where her family has eyes on her all the time, even if they're across the street from her, if you live on the same property, etc., you want a situation where you're in a small town, everyone knows each other. That's the type of situation where a real marriage is sustainable and feasible and it'll actually work. So this idea that you have to, mess with 50 chicks, it's like, I get it, but this is like an update to the red pill where you don't necessarily need that. All you need to know is none of these chicks outside are your chick ever, and they never will be. The best you'll get with an outside chick is a side chick or a main side chick. where she cooks for you, she cleans for you, she comes over once or twice a week. You might have a key to her place, but she doesn't have a key to your place necessarily. But you'll never be married, you'll never have children, and you don't date, you don't pay. She doesn't live with you because she's an outside chick, brother. She's always gonna be running around. She's always running around. Friends, people she talks to, whatever. That's all, brother. Like you, there's no definition. There's no truth. There's none of that. She's just a living animal like all of us are. And so we're going to do things. Nature will take place. Nature beats everything. This idea that guys have that they can trust their chick is so tactically bonkers. It's just, it doesn't work. It never will work. It's like bad martial arts that's not pressure tested in the field, in the actual field. None of that stuff works. It's all upstairs. It's all in your head. It's not real. That's like not having a roof or a door on your house and saying that you're secure when you're physically not. This idea that you can conjure up a roof or a door just by thinking about it is where a lot of people fail, because they say, oh, I trust her. And that's meaningless. That's literally meaningless. It means nothing. It's not physical. It's not positional. It's not positional. It's not physical. It's not real. It's just words. So I'm going to stop it there, but I'm going to continue this conversation later. Like I might do a part 2, maybe tomorrow or later on today. But yeah, man, like those are my positions. That's what I've come to realize, is that this is a game of positioning and tangibility. It's a game of actual physicality and material, like where you are, position, logistics. So, and also, if you're like a religious guy, etc., right, you don't have to sleep with 50 chicks necessarily. Instead, go outside, talk to endless amounts of women, and get the experience of talking to them, and you can throw them back. If you get her to come over, you can maybe make out. There are stages. There's making out, there's fellatio, etc., until you get the box. So you can cut it short at any point. A lot of guys don't have self-control. Although I think you do have self-control, but you tell yourself you don't, but you do. You need to embrace that self-control, and you need to understand that you don't have to go for the box ad nauseum. In fact, you should get the blowjob, get the fellatio, and try to stretch that out for as long as possible. Even if it means her coming over a few times and you just are willing to just have her do fellatio. And you never have to do fellatio on her. Okay, well, you know. So my point is, you can stop at any juncture. So you can stop at holding hands, you can stop at kissing or making out, or you can stop at the talking stage. You can stop at the threshold of your door. You don't have to let her in. So this idea that you need to sleep with 50 women, listen, I get it. I'm not harping on it. That's just kind of a general roadmap. You need to make it work for you and for your plans for yourself. So if you're a devout Christian, Muslim, Jewish, etc., or if you just don't want to sleep and go through the rigmarole of sleeping with 50 chicks, man, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to do that, you can still be good with chicks and understanding them. And it's really just managing without sleeping with them. You can stop just short. And I don't know why no one ever talks about that. Like you don't have to go all the way, bro, but you should still get the reps. Get the reps and just talk to endless amounts of chicks. So I'll leave you with that, and then I'll be back to finish this video and go through it more. Stay tuned for part 2 and subsequent parts. And if you want to sit down and talk about whatever's going on in your life, and if you just need guidance or another perspective, hit my Venmo and PayPal, and we can arrange something where we have an hour session, 2-hour sessions, etc. And we can set something up, because sometimes people need someone to talk to. So don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you want to sit down and talk, or if you need any kind of guidance or outlook or any insight into this stuff, just hit the Venmo and PayPal and we can walk through it. All right, so I'll catch you guys next time.